Now we've all had that feeling where we look at the lawn and see all that crabgrass and we go, ugh. When did Satan's anus show up on my lawn and how do I get rid of it? Let's take a look at this lawn. Now at first glance, it looks fantastic. Now it's got a couple of watering issues, but nothing over the top. But then when you get closer in, you see the problem. Satan's mother-in-law showed up, Mrs. Crabgrass, and she's starting to take over. Now, what if I told you there's a solution that you can use to not only kill the crabgrass, but prevent more from coming? In order to get the perfect lawn that you want, you're going to need to use what's called a selective herbicide. Selective herbicides are designed to kill target weeds while leaving your grass alone. This is where things can get a little confusing because there's not a lot of herbicides out there that target both annual grasses and regular broadleaf weeds, not to mention preventing new weeds from coming. Now, my go-to product in this instance is a product called Tenacity. Now, Tenacity was built to get rid of less desirable grasses like bentgrass, nimblewill, foxtail, and crabgrass. There are other herbicides out there that target annual grasses, but Tenacity is one of the very few that also targets annual and biennial weeds as well as less desirable grasses. Now, in our instance, when we're dealing with a lot of annual crabgrass, plus we're dealing with clover that's already seeding out, we're going to need something that's not only going to kill it, but also prevent the seeds that are dropping from germinating. Although Tenacity is classified as a pre-emergent, it's not the best one at that. You only get about 2 to 3 weeks of pre-emergent properties out of it, and that's why you'll see me use it a lot for seeding projects. Works fantastic. But in this instance, where we want to disrupt weed seed germination for 60 to 90 days, we're going to use a more effective pre-emergent called Barricade. Now, just to make sure that Tenacity actually sticks to the weeds properly, we're going to add a non-ionic surfactant per the label's recommendation. Now, there's a couple of things I love about Tenacity. Number one, it's a very flexible product that allows you to add more products to it. And number two, it really shows you that it works. It acts like a sunblock to the weeds, so it'll actually bleach them white and show you it's actually working. Now, mixing these three products together is extremely easy. Now, to start off with, you'll need a backpack sprayer or some sort of a handheld pump sprayer. A 1 gallon mixture will do about 1,000 square feet. So what I'm going to start off with is putting in half a gallon of water before I add my solutions. Ginja sponsored this video and gave me the opportunity to show you their new prosumer bottles with the tip and pour. Now, the majority of these 4-ounce bottles will do somewhere between 4,000 and 8,000 square feet. The smaller bottles allow you to save a ton of space in your storage area. You can now buy enough for what you need for a residential lawn, and it makes mixing a breeze. I have links to these new prosumer bottles in the description of the video. The Tenacity bottle comes with a syringe that has a measuring device on it in teaspoons. Now, I'm using 3 teaspoons of non-ionic surfactant to 1 teaspoon of Tenacity per 1,000 square feet, or 1 gallon of mixed solution. Now, we're also going to be mixing the Barricade in at ½ an ounce per gallon or per 1,000 square feet. Now, the only thing left to do is to put the other half of the water in to equal 1 gallon of mixed solution and to mix it all up. If you're planning on seeding within the next 60 days, do not apply the Barricade in the mixture. I have a battery operated backpack sprayer. I absolutely love these sprayers because it helps me get this spray down consistently. Now, you can still easily spot spray Tenacity in the Barricade with just using a handheld pump sprayer or a traditional backpack sprayer. Now, I'm going to put a card in the upper right hand corner that shows you how to properly calibrate to make sure that this becomes an easy job for you. Now, I've been a licensed technician for about 18 years now, believe it or not, and this is what I like to see. Now, a lot of you guys are going to want to use a turf marker to make sure that things are consistent, but you can see I have an even spread. It's just glistening. I don't have a puddle of water, and you'll see, you can physically see the spray just kind of glistening all over the crabgrass. Nothing special. Now, if you just remove the glistening and replace it with blue dye, it works just the same, but overall calibration is key, and that's the difference between spraying and praying and spraying and slaying. Now, we're going to let these solutions dry for about 6 hours. Then we're going to follow it up with about ½ an inch of water, and in the average sprinkler system, that's going to range between 30 and a 45-minute cycle. Now, I hear a lot of you guys out there saying, hey, Ginja, proof's in the pudding. Well, guess what? We're going to spray it now, We're gonna come back out 7 to 10 days later and look at our results. Fast forward 90 days and 1 beard dethatch later, and here we are. Now, I wanted to share with you my results. Now, this was an interesting case. We only did 1 application of Tenacity and Barricade. Now, I always tell people it takes anywhere between 1 and 3 applications commonly to get everything out of the lawn. Well, let's get a nice close-up in here, and you'll notice there is 0 crabgrass. I mean, considering we did this over 90 days ago in the peak of crabgrass season, everything was seeding out. We should still be seeing a lot of activity here. Now, the thing that I'm most amazed about is we did 1 application, nothing else. Now, we are seeing some broadleafs. Some of you guys out there would be like, oh, you're failing. But the bottom line is it typically takes several treatments. Plus, these types of weeds, they're biennials. So if this germinated, hung out underneath the ground, hadn't leafed out yet, the herbicide wouldn't have had a chance to work on it. It was gonna pop up anyway, which is another reason why it takes several applications. But considering we have 0 annual grasses, we have 75% less weed activity in the lawn, this is a win. Before diving on in and using Tenacity, you're gonna wanna make yourself familiar with the label. Now, Tenacity was developed for certain types of grasses. Cool season grasses like fine fescue, Kentucky bluegrass, perennial rye, and turf type tall fescue. Now, it was also developed for a few warm season grasses like buffalo grass, centipede, and St. Augustine grass. If you use Tenacity on the wrong species of grass, you could potentially bleach the grass, stunt the grass, or even kill it. If you guys are interested in killing weeds and preventing more from coming, this is a fantastic way to do it. But if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, hit me up in the comments down below. You know I'd love to help you guys out. Till next time, guys, it's the Pest and Lawn Ginja. We're slaying lawns.